All right, so we have got a heck of a snowstorm happening over here in Edmonton right now. So people are be coming in as the class goes. We just had CK just joined us. Hello, CK. Welcome to the class. All right, so welcome. You missed our opening with Stryker. By the way, Stryker is playing quite literally around the corner this Tuesday, which is going to be fucking awesome. Yes. $30 at the Starlight Room. Oh, just a minute here. There we go. Welcome. Okay, so welcome to everyone who's joining us right here in Edmonton. And of course, everyone who's joining us around the world online. Glad to have you here. This is our class 09 on game structure. So for those of you who are possibly new to FDI, we've got a couple of house rules. Overall, we got one big rule here, and that is design is here to help. Design solves customer problems. That's the big thing that it does. That's why people love things that are well made and well designed, is because you've solved the customer's problem. This is also a conversational class, so please feel free to raise your hand and be like, hey, Matt, I've got a question, or I think you're full of shit. It's great. Please feel free to challenge me. That keeps the conversation going, keeps this thing interesting. So yeah, so you guys have a hell of a lot to catch up on. We're actually designing this class, so that is also good for people who are just here for the very first time. So again, conversational class, please feel free to ask questions. So, in case you're wondering who I am, I'm Matt Friedman. I'm a 20-year industry vet. I've worked on a whole bunch of titles. I'm a design/creative director in the industry right now. Worked on Grand Theft Auto 5, Red Dead Redemption 2, Max Payne 3, FIFA, and MythForce. I also possibly worked on Marvel Nemesis for the Nintendo DS, but we don't talk about that one. So we also have our class defender, El Nivelador, who you currently, if you're here with me in Edmonton, you can't see him, but you're going to be able to hear him. El Nivelador, can we hear your amazing voice? Don't be shy. There we go. So El Nivelador is our class champion and defender. He'll be handling any online questions that we have so I can be focused on you guys. Where injustice fears to tread, El Nivelador is there. So thank you very much, everyone, for being in attendance. And I also wanted to thank the people who are helping to make this event happen. We've got support by ESIO, the Edmonton Screen Industries Office. ESIO does fantastic work supporting local Edmonton devs, helping people start companies. They've been really supportive in the efforts of FDI and allowing all this to happen. A lot of this wouldn't be happening without the work of ESIO, in particular, the work of one man, CK, who I'm totally going to twist the arm of and get him up here to tell us a little bit about ESIO. If you're, just hold on, just a second there. Hold on. I know, he's super keen. But if you're an independent or you're wondering about what it takes to get support, get things rolling, organizations like ESIO really helping. And they're really doing a lot to assist the growth of the tech and screen industry in Edmonton. And with that, I'm going to welcome CK. Please, no one commenting on how freakishly handsome he is. He knows. Let's keep it low-key. Let's keep it professional. CK, with that introduction, come on up. Tell us about ESIO. There's the camera right there. I'm going to get out of your way.
We're going to switch.
All right. Here, you know what? I'm going to give you my mic. It's yours now.
Thank you, everybody. This will not be an ASMR, but my name is CK Dollywall. I work at Edmonton Screen Industries Office. So what we do is we support the screen media sector for the Edmonton metro area. So that would include film, television, and the portfolio I'm supporting right now, interactive digital media. So that would include video games, animation, VFX, that sort of fun stuff. What we try and do is help people find the appropriate resources to help them develop their games, find communities, help them get connected where they need to, because the world can be a very disjointed place, even though we all should be very connected with all the technology we have. And so sometimes a resource or a conversation is all you need to help you move forward with your project. And we hope to be that catalyst to help you do that. So if you have any questions, we're available. Matt's a lot smarter than I am, though, when it comes down to how the things actually get put together. But hey, he's your go-to guy too. But if you ever have any questions about us, or you're looking for resources, or in Canada, you're really trying to tap into the Canada Media Fund, which we're really fortunate to have, reach out to us. We'd be happy to answer any questions that we may know.
Cool. Thank you very much, CK.
Thank you. Cool beans.
Awesome. I love my my ASMR stuff. All right. So as CK was saying, ESIO is here to help development of indies and fledgling talent. If you have any questions about ESIO, you can reach out to CK or reach out to me directly, and I can absolutely put you in touch. All right. Also, I really want to thank Edmonton Unlimited, who gave us the space, all this wonderful technology, helped to give us a bit of additional promotion for the event as well. Edmonton Unlimited, like ESIO, has been doing a wonderful job of supporting up-and-coming businesses within Edmonton. I got a ton of professional training, marketing training, entrepreneurial training. So all of this madness that's going on, you can directly blame Edmonton Unlimited for that. That's right. All this is their fault. All right. So let's jump into what today's class is going to be. We're going to give you a quick intro to FDI. For those of you who are possibly new, we're going to discuss game structure. So understanding what structure is, looking at objectives, efforts, and milestones. A little bit of homework. You guys who are here for your first class, you can absolutely join the homework if you want. But most of this homework is for those class members who've been with us since the beginning. Also, we're going to be talking about starting in the industry. We're going to have a little section for questions. Then we have a special FDI live assignment. For those of you who bother to show up in person, you get additional homework, but trust me, it's really good homework. Well, we got some people are starting to come in now. All right, so quick description of how FDI works. Hello there. So FDI is really based on experiential design learning. So best way to get someone to learn how to make games is to actually have them make games. So we have our paid program where you actually take a game from concept to a commercial release. Even in a free program, you are taking a game on paper and designing it, iterating on it every single week, integrating feedback and revisions that simulate the kind that you would in an actual development environment. Our focus is also on universal design skills. So I don't want to just focus you on just learning Unreal Engine or just learning how to do third-person shooters. This is really focused on the kind of universal design concepts that will work if, like, hey, if you're working for a mobile company or you're working for a AAA or you're doing an indie, a lot of these lessons will apply. We also have an agile curriculum, and that is if I talk to employers like, hey, we really want our students to be knowing, or our candidates to be aware of this technology or this design methodology, we can just roll that right into our curriculum ASAP. If I hear feedback from the class, they want us focusing on particular subject matter, we can also pivot that. So we have an agile curriculum. We're also very customer focused. As I said earlier, design solves customer problems. If you're to be a good designer, let me get up close to the camera here, you got to be passionate about solving customer problems. Do you hear that, Mike? I see you smiling. I see you smiling. Are you passionate about customer problems?
All the time.
Great. CK, are you passionate about customer problems?
Each and every day.
Fuck yeah. That's why you're awesome. All right. We're also community driven. We have a wonderful international community. Our Discord server is fantastic. We have so many constructive, productive design conversations that are happening there. If ever you get stuck or you need some additional assistance with the design methodology, or you're on a project, or you're just going through the FDI curriculum, our Discord has got a lot of people willing to help you and contribute. Also, another thing is different approach we're taking here is our customer are actually employers. So the approach I'm taking with this is I've approached employers and said, okay, think of like our students as being a product that you want to invest in. You're paying salary, you're interviewing them, you're investing time. Out of that product, so to speak, what are you looking for? And a lot of the subject matter in our curriculum is based upon that approach. We actually have a lot of employers that are very curious to see what our graduates are up to. In particular, we're looking at the ones from the paid program, but we have also in the free program ran that curriculum by employers to be like, all right, this is what we're going to be training them. This is how we're focusing with our free program. Is that of value? And generally, we've gotten some pretty big thumbs up there. Provided you're doing the work. The thing, the free program isn't easy, and that's intentional so that it has value. And of course, our free program leads into our paid program. So this is all our free program here. So in free program, you make a game on paper. Paid program, you actually make a game for real and release it commercially. All right, so we're going to go into our lecture on game structure. Also, actually, some quick house rules. If you do have any questions, please feel free to raise your hand, and we'll answer your questions. That's how raising your hand works. Question in the chat about information about the paid program. We will absolutely be having information about that a little later. We're also going to have a special session of FDI focusing on the paid program and about building your career. All right, but first, I want us to try something. Before we talk about game structure, I want us to remove structure. We're gonna tear down walls. We're not gonna let barriers hold us back. That would almost be counterproductive. So we're going to have a structureless class. We're going to remove differences between words. We're going to talk about all the subjects simultaneously. 1 hour of class condensed down to 1/3 of a second. We're going to need silence for this. This is intense. I gotta dig deep here. All right. We did it. We did it. The class, there we go. Everyone can go home. We finished it. Yes. All right. So clearly structure is important. But what is the structure of games? We have everything needs a structure. Like we said, our sentences, how we communicate ideas. But is there a universal structure for games? And I'm here to tell you there is. There is a structure that maps to Mario just as well as it does to God of War Ragnarok, maps to Tetris and to Minecraft, maps to Fortnite and Marvel Nemesis Rise of the Imperfects for the Nintendo DS. Perhaps Marvel Nemesis Rise of the Imperfects Nintendo DS could have done a slightly better job of implementing that structure, though. It also exists at the micro level. It exists within the combat of Doom and the city planning of City Skylines. So this is a thing. The structure we're going to be talking about, this is a fractal game structure. So it exists at the macro level, high-level objectives. It exists at the micro level, moment-to-moment gameplay. So for those of you who are new to fractals, a fractal is a recursive shape that evolves a pattern by constantly applying the same set of rules to it. So we have an image here of if you take a triangle, draw a triangle at the center point of each line of the triangle, and you keep repeating that pattern, you get a triangle made of triangles. That's a fractal. That is also, as some of you guys might have noticed, is the symbol of the Triforce from Legend of Zelda. Triforce is a triangle made of other triangles. So the structure we're talking about here, it's fractal. It exists at the micro. It exists at the meta. So just jumping right into it, the structure of games has got 3 components. First, clear objective. Second is you have to offer reward for player effort. And the third is you have to have some kind of achievement threshold. So diving into these, for a clear objective, it's effectively what is the player trying to achieve. So we got a picture of Gran Turismo there. So, excuse me. Copy is essential to survival. So, Gran Turismo, I'm trying to win the race. I'm trying to pass other cars. I'm trying to prove myself as being the champion of worldwide racing. I'm trying to collect all the cars in the garage. These are all different objectives that exist from the macro to the micro. Another one is rewarding player effort. So encourage players to be invested in your game. Get them to lean in and have a real interest about what they're doing. You want players sitting there and thinking, wait, what if I just did this? What if I try this other thing? We have a looping GIF here of a tricky Mario jump. And this is the thing, this is why Mario is such a great game. Players think, you know what? If I try this, if I do a double jump here, combine it with a wall jump, I can actually do a shortcut through this level. And the game really rewards that. At the same time, you also need to respect player effort, as in, if players are trying to do something that feels obvious, the game has to reflect that back to them and reward them for making those kinds of observations. And the other side of this, so you need to have them rewarded for effort. You also don't want to reward them for zero effort. If I have a game that can just win by just tapping a button continuously and just like, watching a movie while I'm tapping my button, that is not very good design. Players will bounce off of that really easily. There was one very large project medium-sized project I was a part of, and their entire gameplay vision was, well, what if we just had it was part of the Wii? What if we just had a game people could win just by just moving controllers around? And they shipped it, and everyone hated it because it wasn't fun to play. All right, so third one is achievement threshold. So I know what I'm going to do. I put effort into doing it. I need to have some kind of clarity that I've just achieved something. So in Gran Turismo, when I've passed that car, I see my position within the race has improved. There's a counter I believe it's in the top left of the screen, showing my position in the race. That number goes up. When I win the race, there's a victory screen. When I collect all the cars, I get an achievement. Like, this was pretty much the whole entire thing behind Xbox achievements and how popular those were, is they just gave you really clear punctuation of, hey, you just did something, good job. This exists also at kind of the super micro level of, it's the sound effect you get when collecting a coin in Mario Brothers. It's the hit reaction on an enemy in Dark Souls. It's all these little things to let the player know, okay, you just did something, you made some progress, we're giving you some feedback. So let's look at this structure in action. Again, looking at Mario Brothers. So fractal structure in Mario Brothers. As a game, my objective, trying to liberate the Mushroom Kingdom from Bowser, rescue Princess Toadstool, or I think, yeah, Toadstool in the West, Peach in Japan. As a level, actually, that's my objective, effort, learning the different rules of the game, going through its challenges. Those challenges escalate, providing me continual focus of my effort. So the amount of effort that I put in the first level, I have to escalate that for the second level, for the third level. I'm continually putting in effort to make progress in the game, and that effort's rewarded. Then for the success thresholds, at the end of the game, I get a nice victory screen of Bowser being defeated and Princess Toadstool being rescued. So looking at it at the structure of a level, so as a level in Mario, I'm moving from left to right. I start off on the left side of the screen, a lot of negative space off to the right. I'm trying to progress from the left to the right of the level. That's my objective. There's a whole bunch of challenges within that level that are requiring me to apply my skill. Those are jumps, enemies, there's secrets, power-ups, that kind of stuff. And then at the end of the level, I jump on the flagpole and I'm getting a nice victory celebration with all the fireworks, and I get a high score and all that kind of stuff. But then as a moment, here I have to go and make a jump. That's my objective. I have to bridge that gap, going from my little platform down there up to the elevated grassy platform there. I've got enemies flying around. I got to be focused on making that jump successfully. I have to be focused on avoiding the enemies. Once I've made the jump, it's a small success threshold, but that has opened up additional navigation to me now. So now that I've made that jump, I'm like, oh, I can now progress more into the level. And there's another jump right after that, which has that exact same structure. So the thing is that this is a fractal structure. It works at the macro all the way down to the micro. Actually, great comment here in chat that this is also a big part of a big part of how Minecraft works. Constant little micro objectives within Minecraft, which is one of the reasons it's so much fun. All right, so El Nivelador, who's handling our questions for chat, do we have any questions from chat that we should get to?
We do have a couple, yes.
Lay them on me.
Twitch has been saying they couldn't hear me very well. I think we'll start with the sound check.
Okay, let me just. Check. Okay, El Nivelador is still very quiet. Sorry, guys. Let's plus mic. El Nivelador, can you increase the volume of your microphone?
It's on max.
It's on max. Okay, tell you what, we can hear you pretty well here. Let me know the question and I'll repeat it.
Okay, perfect. Starting at the top here, leaderboard is what kind of achievement threshold is it not?
Yes. Okay, so the question from El Nivelador is, are leaderboards a kind of achievement threshold? Yes, they absolutely are. One of the best examples of this, one of the earliest examples of this, is the high score table that was in Space Invaders. That's actually one of my favorite examples because mechanically it actually doesn't change anything about the game. It's the exact same gameplay rules, but the fact that there was a high score for me to try to beat was really compelling to a lot of players. So this is leaderboards, this is achievements, it's high score tables. That kind of even an abstract goal for your players can be really compelling. All right. Any other questions?
Next question. What about potential games like Tails? Play with structure fit in without a score?
So for cozy games, this is where the structure gets a little looser, but generally within that you can have a player imposed structure. And this is the thing, this is where we get into kind of a bit of a threshold here, or a sort of a spectrum. So some games start to pivot more towards being like a toy. So within a toy, the objectives are much more self-motivated. When I'm given like a box of Legos, generally like there are Lego sets that have a model, but if I just give you like a giant box of Legos with no instructions, you will start to self-generate those types of objectives. Hey, I want to make a house, or I want to try to make a car, or what have you. Let me look at all my pieces and try to figure that out. Within games, there's generally a much more explicit objective given to players. And this is where, like, this is the thing with design, is that design is complex. It kind of frustrates traditional categorization. So within this, there are game design that can pivot more towards a toy or more towards a more traditional structured game. So within Cozy, they're starting to slide a bit more towards a toy. Within that, the objectives are generally self-motivated. All right. Any other questions?
And one more question. As to clarify the difference between player effort and the achievement threshold.
Okay. Clarifying the difference between rewarding player effort and the achievement threshold. Let me think about that. So those two things are very closely linked. Example I'd give is like, picture in Mario Brothers when I'm collecting a coin, if nothing happened when I picked it up, if it just disappeared. That's a much less satisfying experience because it doesn't as clearly indicate to me that I've achieved something. Picture if I get to the end of a level and it's just a black screen. I just at a certain point of the level, I'm walking along, I'm not jumping on a flagpole or anything like that. I just walk, screen goes black, another level comes up. It is very similar mechanically, but because it doesn't have that punctuation as a player, it just feels kind of hollow. Like I don't have that structure there. It's very similar to having a sentence with no punctuation in it. All right, anything else? All right, okay, great. The class joining me here in Edmonton, do you guys have any questions? We're all good? All right, we're gonna carry on then. Bingo. Okay, so I want to revisit a couple of these examples to look at them through this lens. So, Tetris and Minecraft. So within Tetris, we have an objective of trying to clear as many lines as possible. There's a specific line threshold that we're trying to reach. for the overall, I guess, player effort. It's about carefully observing which pieces are coming up, positioning those pieces to optimize your use of the space. Achievement threshold, you get a fun sound effect and a nice little line clear effect per line gets cleared. When you finish a level, there's a bit of a audio celebration and visual celebration there as well. As we said in Minecraft, I think actually Minecraft's quite interesting in what it does with its structure, where at the start it's very open-ended, but very quickly presents to the player the importance of just surviving. Night falls, the creepers come out, you realize, oh, I have to make a structure to protect myself. And on top of that, once you really master those gameplay systems, you start to realize that there's this very in-depth social element to the gameplay. So now it's about hanging out with friends and making things together. But very similar kind of overall structure. Said, a similar kind of thing on Fortnite. Fortnite, overall objective, I want to be the last player out of the 100 in the Battle Royale to survive. Moment-to-moment gameplay. There are challenges for the overall combat ability for the player. And there's lots of small achievement thresholds as well. When you pick up weapons, when you're unlocking gear, when you actually survive, and you're the last player standing, you get a big celebration there. Marvel Nemesis, Rise of the Imperfects on the Nintendo DS. I've got so many sassy things I could say about this game. I guess, but I suppose there was an objective of trying to save the world, I'm pretty sure. Marvel Nemesis is a bit of a weak example. One of the things that, it drove me nuts about this game, this is the thing, working on just throw a little bit of sass here, working on a project that is of such low quality. You ever think that maybe your brain just doesn't work? You just don't understand how things function? It was that kind of experience. So this is in Marvel Nemesis, Rise of the Imperfects, Nintendo DS. There is almost no reaction when you hit an enemy. You hit an enemy and you play an animation and their health goes down a little bit, but they don't play like it felt weightless, and there was no, it was missing, just like the fact it was missing that little threshold of I've just hit something, like that element that was there from like Street Fighter 2 and even earlier. I was like, it can't actually be this bad, can it? There's got to be something here I'm missing. But yeah, it was quite the title. Yeah, someone in chat said like Punching Air. Absolutely like Punching Air. Like Punching Air with bad animations and a camera that's out to kill you. Then I want to give an example of that structure for the micro. So within Combat of Doom, trying to defeat the monster that's directly in front of me, I've got to manage my distance, avoid attacks, manage my resources as well, my ammunition. And then, this Doom, this is the 2016 version. One of their big innovations was just doubling down on those achievement thresholds of those glory kills. Effectively, the glory kill is a bit of additional challenge with a very satisfying achievement threshold. Be jumping in, ripping off an enemy's head, and explodes into a whole bunch of health and ammo bonuses. It's a really satisfying, really excellent celebration. And same kind of thing in the city management of City Skylines. I'm trying to grow my city, and I have to go in to pay attention to the overall financial resources, water, electricity, all that kind of stuff. And then I get really clear thresholds for, as the city starts to grow, I unlock additional buildings and mechanics and systems. All right. So look at applying this to game development. So if you're working on a game, always trying to make sure that you ensure you have a clear objective. This is something I actually see even a surprising number of modern games will, it's becoming more common that they're good about this, but I have seen some games, even some pretty big releases, they're like, well, our objective's player creativity. And players sit down with it like, okay, so what am I supposed to actually be doing here? Like, be creative. Just do stuff. They're like, oh, but what? You need to have something that they're doing. Again, this is why Minecraft is so good. It does a very good job of giving you some, it says you can do anything, but in particular, you want to be doing this, this, and this. So, another thing is if you're working on your game, can the player win by not paying attention? And is the player being rewarded for paying attention? Look at these. Look at these two things. These are really important for driving player engagement and really getting that satisfying gameplay. Third one is it clear when the player has achieved something? So this is the thing, again, an example of with Marvel Nemesis, Rise of the Imperfects, Nintendo DS, is within that game, whenever I was hitting an enemy, it just provided so little feedback. It just wasn't clear to me that I was actually inflicting damage unless I was like just constantly looking at their health bar. This is actually something that the Souls games do a really, really good job of. They make every single hit in those games feel really satisfying. It feels really good when I, dodge an enemy attack, counterattack, hit them. You get a bit of slowdown, you get some particle effects, you get a really nice, satisfying kind of slashing, cutting sound that goes into it. All right. So going from that, I want to go into our homework. So again, this is for mostly people are joining us around the world in chat. But if you guys want to check out the homework as well. So for this, what we want you to do is in the game, in the school, all of our students have been assigned a random customer, and they've got a game that they're working on for that customer. So within that game, I want you to define your game structure. So write down explicitly what your game's main objective is, how is player effort important to that game experience, and how do you communicate success to the player. We do have a bit more of the lecture we're going to be going into because I do want to have a quick talk about starting in the industry, because I know that's really kind of what we're trying to focus on here, is that this FDI only works if it's helping people get jobs. That's the fundamental thing. So I want us to talk a little bit about that. So I'm going to jump into starting in the industry. But before I do that, let's see. Thank you. Actually, you know what? Sorry, I'm going to break from this a little bit. El Nivelador, do we have any other questions in chat? Someone's enjoying his coffee there. Okay, we're good. For those of us here in person, any questions? Okay, we're going to keep going then. Okay, so we're going to talk about starting in the industry. This is going to be a bit of a quick rundown, but I did want to give you guys an overview of this. So for employment, we're going to look at sourcing jobs, qualifying for the jobs, applying the jobs, and then applying for the jobs, and then interviewing. So where to find jobs? Generally, my strongest recommendation for this is networking is really key. Go out to game meetups and game jams. Just start going out there, meeting people, talking with people, let people know, hey, I'm looking at getting into the industry. What would you recommend? Be able to give advice. Please take that advice. And then online, a lot of jobs get posted on LinkedIn. Company websites I find are really excellent. And there's a great resource called Game Dev Map. Okay, finding local game meetups. That's an excellent question. This is another question that just came up in chat, and I want to address this. So finding local game dev meetups, this will depend on your region. I know right now here in Alberta, we've got Alberta Game Camp. Mike, you're helping to run Alberta Game Camp. Absolutely, fantastic. So they've been a really excellent resource for helping to catalyze the game community within Alberta. But a lot of this, to find the game community in your area, I would recommend do searches on LinkedIn, and ultimately a lot of this is going to have to come down to Google searches and just getting out there and looking around. But for finding jobs, LinkedIn, company websites, and Game Dev Map is a really excellent. Actually, someone just mentioned a comment, had a great comment in chat. That is, if you can't find one, start one. That's a really good approach as well. Just reach out there, let people know on Reddit, start community, start a Discord server. You have the power. You can do this. Now, the thing is, I do have these online resources here. Pro tip for finding jobs. Most job listings are unlisted. This is why networking is so important. Job listings are what an employer does when they cannot find a candidate internally or via recommendations. So it's really useful to be out there networking, because then they'll be like, hey, I was just talking to someone at a game jam. They seem like they're a really strong junior. Let's pull them in for an interview. This is actually how I've gotten a number of jobs, is just talking to people, and they're like saying, hey, I'm out there on the market looking for my next opportunity. Do you know anyone I can help? And they're like, you know what? This company just got approved for a project. They're looking for a new director. Why don't you come on in an interview? So networking, absolutely important. Another thing is qualifying for a job. You have to show you can do the job. So the best way to that is to have, it might sound a little obvious, but having done the job prior. So this is the thing, this is one of the reasons why within our curriculum, we try to focus so much on simulating an actual work environment as much as we can, so that you're able to say, look, I've been able to take customer feedback. I've been able to work within very strict time limits and budgets and constraints. I've still been able to develop something of quality. So one of the most important things is like making a game with a team. I know that can be challenging, but for as an employer, it's really important to know that someone is able to work as part of a team, because if they're employing you, by definition, they have a team. They need to know that you're able to be a team player. Also, another big one is please focus on a specific discipline. I know so many juniors that describe themselves as a generalist. Almost no one hires a generalist. You'll get some small indies, possibly they're looking for generalists, but usually the job listings are looking for something very specific. Now, where being a generalist is useful, as a generalist, find out what your passion is, what is the design skill that you are strongest with. You lead with that, and then you're like, and also I do programming and animation and audio and all this other stuff. So, you know, you're hiring me as a level designer and you have these other problems, I can help solve those too, but mostly what you're getting is a really kick-ass level designer. Employers are hiring for specific roles. For game engines, Unity and Unreal are best. I know Godot's been very popular, but I know very few companies, actually I don't know any companies that are hiring that are using Godot. I know a few very small indie teams that are, but for the kind of jobs you'd be applying for, they're generally looking for a Unity or Unreal. Another thing is be passionate. As an employer, you want to hire people that are driven and passionate and engaged. And that isn't just saying, I'm passionate or I really love this. You have to be able to demonstrate it. You know, just be like, have stories about working late or like, you know, getting something done and be like, you know what, I can make this even better. Let me just clear my calendar, get back to it, and really engage. Employers will love that. If as an employer, if you're giving me only what I've asked for, that is problematic. This is the thing. Actually, when I started off at Rockstar, this is one of my lessons I got from that, was that they gave me an assignment and I gave them exactly what they asked for, and I got chewed out a little bit about that, because they're like, you know what, that wasn't fun enough. Why did you not know that wasn't fun enough? And I was like, well, but you told me to do that. They're like, yeah, but you should be doing better than that. I was like, this is why you guys are successful. Understood. And it's actually a lot of fun. It's great. You know, it does become a kind of game. You're like, you know what? I did it this good, but let's do that even better. Let's do that even better. And then next thing you know, it's 3 a.m. You're like, oh, I should probably sleep eventually. All right. So another thing is applying for jobs. So again, employers are looking for a specific problem they need solved. They aren't going in and say, we need a designer. They're like, well, no, we need someone to finish our levels, or we need someone to do our boss battles, or we need someone to write our narrative. We need a narrative designer. We need a combat designer. We need a level designer. If you're just showing up and saying, I do design stuff, it is not specific enough for the employer to know where to insert you into the overall hierarchy of what they're trying to do. They're trying to solve a specific problem. So communicate yourself as a solution to that problem. So, right now I'm an active professional designer. So right now, I do have some interviews that I'm engaged with. And a lot of that is about letting them know, well, for this kind of overall project and how you want to grow the company, the type of IP you have, the company size, and where the market's going and where the tech is, this is how I'd be approaching that. You want this kind of team. You want this kind of market. There's going to be this strategy. This is how you're going to approach the tech. I know how to do this because I've done this before. I've got a solution right in my back pocket. Sign me on, and we're going to be ready to hit the ground running on this. That's what you want to be able to communicate when you're applying for a job. You're ready to fix their problems. And also a really important thing is, I'd say join the company, not the role. I know so many juniors that are waiting for a very specific type of role. And if you are joining a strong company in a very junior role, they will move you up. I've been in companies where they've taken someone who's working the front desk and getting them a job in concept art. Because we'd always see this person doodling, and we're like, man, Susan's really good at these sketches. She's been drawing our characters and drawing the monsters. And man, we need a concept artist. We all like Susan. Why don't we just get her doing some concept art for us? And a concept art role is really hard to nail. This is the thing, start with a company. I trained as a designer. I started off as a QA tester, absolute bottom of the rung, just so I could get my foot in the industry. And then you just work your way up from there. Because honestly, I know some people who are trying to start their career and they're like, man, I'm a character artist and I will only apply for character art roles. It's like, if you're currently unemployed, then sitting around waiting for an ideal role does not do you any favors. Just get started. Join a strong company. Man, if Nintendo asked me to clean their toilets, I would give it some consideration. I'm going to overhear some interesting conversations in those washrooms, and I'll make notes and put it in my back pocket. It's really important to just try to join a strong company and just join them anywhere you can. And you're going to prove yourself from there. So last thing is interviewing. So the thing is, during an interview, so you've done your application, communicate yourself as a solution to the problem. Communicate awareness of the employer's problems, in particular the customers. Every single company out there that is worth their salt is laser focused on their customer problems. You need to be able to tell them, I know your customer problems and I know how to solve those customer problems. That is really going to help to move you forward within an interview. Also, provide examples how you can address these things. So like I said, when I'm interviewing, I come to the interview prepared with solutions. Perhaps it's not exactly what they need, but at least they know I'm already thinking about the stuff, and naturally I'm already oriented towards it. I'm like, man, the kind of customers you're after, they're interested in these kind of games. They have these frustrations. This is how you're going to approach it. This is how you're going to simplify your tech stack. This is how it's going to work with your developers, all that kind of stuff. Another big thing is, for God's sakes, put people first. It is not good if you're in an interview and you're constantly talking about yourself and how awesome you are. What makes you awesome is that, Mike, you are the kind of person that solves other people's problems. You solve company problems. That is why you're awesome. That is why they want to employ you.
Absolutely right.
Hell yeah. All right. So, if you'd like to know more about this, November 30th class, we're going to go in depth on job acquisition. That is our last class, I'm sad to say, but we're going to be focusing on you guys starting your careers. And we're going to go into this in a lot more depth. All right. So once again, El Nivlador, do we have any questions? Fantastic.
Starting off with somebody asking if they were working in an indie game studio prior, but they never finished their project due to budgets and whatnot. It's still valid to use as a portfolio.
Okay. So question is, if you're working on a project and the project gets canceled, is it still valuable? Absolutely. Oh my God. I know so many great devs that just have bad luck. There's one guy I knew who worked for the industry in 10 years, never shipped a title, kept working on these big AAA projects, and just luck of the draw, just they all got canceled. Nothing to do with the quality of his work. It's just how things go sometimes. I know it's a big concern with a lot of developers. They're like, well, what if, like, like it is technically better to have shipped than to not to have shipped, but like when I'm hiring, I understand like that's a small threshold there. I'm looking for someone who can solve problems. You are solving problems even if you don't ship. Perhaps you've missed a little bit of the pipeline there, but if you're qualified, you're also the kind of person that will be able to grow and react and learn how to ship a game. Even if you haven't shipped, you're still solving problems. You can still put that in your resume. You can still present that during an interview. All right, I'll nibble the door. Next question, please.
Next question, do you have any tips to make a last impression on?
Best question for networking. How can I help you? That really impresses people. If you're ever talking to someone, that's the position you want to be in. So actually, I have a really fun story. I was with Mike, and we're networking with a marketing professor, and we got into like this like Spider-Man-esque how can I help you standoff. I was like, how can I help you? No, how can I help you? No, how can I help you? No, I'm going to help you first. And we all just kind of went in circles like, hey, someone's got to choose something. Someone has to give us some kind of action here. But really, whenever you're talking with someone, you want to be given more than you're taking. And that also works like that's the fundamental of a job. You are providing more value than your pay. If the employer is paying you more than you're worth, that won't last for long. Someone's going to figure it out. So just be internalizing that. Whenever you're networking, just say, hey, how can I help you out? CK, how can I help out ESIO?
Lots of ways, Matt.
Fantastic. Can you give me one?
I can't.
You're ruining my mojo here.
It's just having a community event, providing resources.
Great. There we go. Once again, ESIO, they're awesome. They're making tech in Edmonton happen. All right. So that's the thing that's the biggest thing for networking is always be giving more than you're getting. Okay. Any other questions?
A couple more.
Great.
How do you navigate what companies are mostly looking for when senior applicants with 3 years of experience? How do you get in?
That's fine. So the question is, how do you apply as a junior when they require 3 years of experience? Another pro tip, that 3 years of experience is ideal. They would ideally like someone with 3 years of experience, but if you can put together a strong enough resume with a strong enough pitch for who you are and your ability to solve their problems, they're generally going to at least give you an HR screen, which is just a very basic interview. And in that, you can make an impression. I've absolutely, like even now, I will apply for jobs that I am, like even with 20 years, I'm technically not not qualified for, and I will still get the interviews. Because they're like, okay, you're close enough, and you seem like you're pretty good at this stuff, so let's at least pull you in. Then like, before the interview, you're going to research like a devil. Just look up everything you can. You need to know their game better than they know it, which is really important. That's how you really make an impression in an interview. But if you aren't qualified, still put in a good, strong application. Also, like it costs you nothing. Like it's a little bit of additional time to customize your resume. And I know it's kind of like, getting your hand slammed in the kitchen drawer when you're putting in an application, you're not getting any feedback. It's all part of the process. It's like you're in the sales business and you're selling yourself. And a lot of sales is rejection. And you just got to be comfortable with it. Just be out there. You're putting out more resumes and more applications, and they're better than anyone else. That's an important thing. Don't just take a resume and scattershot it all over the place. Every single application has to be custom. It's more work, but again, this is your career. You got to put in the legwork for this. Mike.
Okay, so do the bigger companies look at AAA experience as being higher on the totem than indie experience? Let's say you've got 6 years of building games yourself, or you've worked for small indie companies and you've created your portfolio from them, as opposed to you've got the internship and worked your way up into AAA, and who would they look upon as the greater candidate?
Yeah, okay. Good question. So the question from Mike is, do AAA companies look for AAA experience? Short answer, yes. However, that's part of a larger pattern, and that is, remember, companies are looking for someone who can solve their problems. So they want someone who can solve AAA problems. You can still communicate yourself as someone who's able to solve AAA caliber problems by having a great deal of knowledge and specificity about what those problems are. Research GDC talks. There's so many resources out there for GDC. If you can get in touch with the hiring managers, just let them know, hey, I would love to be able to contribute to the work at Take-Two or Blizzard or FromSoft. What are the skills you guys are looking for? Or like, actually one of the things I'll do is I'll just straight up ask them, is there an employee that you're looking for that you're having a hard time hiring right now? A VFX artist or an engine programmer. And like, yeah, dude, we're trying to find someone who does really good 2D art. And I'm like, all right, you know what? I'm going to go out and find that person for you. They really like that. And then when you actually apply, someone will be like, oh, so-and-so doesn't quite have the exact skills we're looking for, but man, they are super proactive in helping us. Even, just with like helping us find talent, even though it was of no benefit to them. Pretty much every interview I'm in, I exit it with, okay, is there any other talent that you're looking for I can help you source? And also it's great because I can reach out to people in the community and be like, hey, Mike, company over here is looking for a really kick-ass concept artist. Would you like me to give you a recommendation?
Yes.
Okay. Right now, I think it was the last one I was in, they were looking for designers and Unreal Engine character artists, I believe. Yeah, that was it. Character artists, Unreal Engine. I think it was non-photorealistic they're looking for as well. I think I know someone for that. All right. Any other questions? Yes.
Would you mind going back to that QR code?
Oh, sorry, I'll leave the door. We have a question here in class. Okay.
Sorry, I'll leave the door. Would you mind going back to the QR code earlier so I can?
Oh, absolutely. Here, just.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, no worries. All right, El Nivelador, what was the question?
Sorry about that. I do have a few second delay. The question is, what they understand, the further you go up in an organization, the less specialized and generalized you should be. The creative director may not actually be artwork with the knowledge of all areas of expertise. How accurate do you find this in the workflow?
Oh, so the question there is, as you get more senior, do you become more generalized? There's a couple paths for becoming a senior. Sometimes you become a technical lead. So you're the person that really, really knows physics programming or really, really knows the character art pipeline. You can also pivot over into management. So overseeing the talent, just overseeing the team, making sure the team is organized, has the resources it needs. Or you can move into direction, which is high-level creative goals and just being aware of what the market's doing, how your tech stack works, how you can work within that, what your limitations are. And that's actually the path that my career took. So as a director, I really need to know as much as I can, because otherwise I could be providing direction that does not work with our resources or technology. And a big part of what I do as a director is listen to the team. Is I'll say like, okay, guys, we've got this kind of objective. We've got this kind of overall problem. What are you guys thinking about for a solution? And then we talk about it. And as a director, I'm like, okay, which of this is closest to like our overall direction? It's kind of It's quite obvious. It's right there in the name. Direction. A lot of what I do is I set the direction. We're trying to do this. I'm not the, specificist. That is a made-up word, but like my job is to say, okay, Mike, do this, now do this, now do this, now do this. That would make me a crappy director because I'm not giving him direction. I'm like, Mike, we got to get over there. You got to give us a kick-ass character art solution for doing that. This is your resources. This is your timeline. What else do you need to get us over there in that set direction? And I'm going to make sure you have that. So I guess as you grow more senior, I think it's very good to, if you move into a technical lead role, you'll become more specified. If you move into a leadership role, you'll become more general. But also the skill that really separates talent, I find, and this is something we discussed last class, is really I'd recommend reading. Just learn as much as you can. Even if you're a specialist, if you're a generalist, just develop a healthy reading habit. You'll develop such powerful cognitive tools for solving problems. It is surprising how common a pastime that is for people who really succeed. It's like Jackie Chan reads a lot. Warren Buffett reads a lot. Bill Gates reads a lot. William Shatner reads a lot. That's the cliche with William Shatner. Is if you see him, he's got his nose in a book, and he wants to talk about what he's reading. And I know as much as William Shatner gets a bit of flack, but he's a very successful actor. All right. Do we have any other questions? That's all we got. Okay, cool. Oh, there we go. Yes. There's a question here in chat. The certificate deadline hasn't been announced. No, we have not announced that deadline. Right now, what I'm thinking is after the last class, we're probably going to be giving an additional 2 weeks to complete the assignments. And then we're going to be going through the certification process. So for those of you who don't know, for a free class, we do offer a certification if you're able to go through the entire program. And your design worksheet, we are seeing you putting in some serious effort and iteration and all that kind of stuff. Then we're able to provide you certification. And we're going to have 2 tiers of certification. First one is general completion. If you just kind of did everything, okay, you get a certificate saying you did everything. But if I see you're really putting in the extra work and really internalizing the lessons, then you'll get a excellent certification, which I will give a better name to, but we're going to have, a higher tier of certification. All right. So actually, we have a question here. This is my first class. Is there a chance for me to go back through the free course? Yes. This entire program is designed so you can join it just about any time and still complete the program. So if you're submitting assignments, all that stuff gets set my way. And I say, okay, so-and-so just joined the class. This is their first assignment, and I'm able to provide feedback on that. And also, all these lectures are available on YouTube. You do miss our fun, dynamic conversations, but you can at least watch the lecture. All right. Yes, go for the excellent certification. Okay. So yeah, El Nivelador, do we have any other questions? Okay. So, quick summary, we do have, after this, February of next year, we're starting a design professional program, which is really focused on helping you guys start your design career. That is starting February 2025. It is a 4-month program. Mike went through our program, which was fucking great. Congratulations on launching your game, by the way.
Thank you.
You're welcome. And I think you're at 100% customer approval right now?
Yes, let's keep it that way.
Yes, there we go. So he just launched Broken Ceiling, 100% customer approval. You're running your own company. You've been hiring contractors and all that kind of stuff. You launched on Steam about a month ago.
Yes.
Which is great. And also got to say, dude, for in 10 months, you've come very far, which is excellent. Just nice.
Thank you.
Applause for Mike. Applause for Mike.
Thank you.
All right.
Are we working on the next game?
Fantastic. Yes. So for the program, so 4 months, you get your game on Steam. You're going to be featured in Steam at Games and on Gamescom Canada. So our students were at Gamescom Canada this last year. They were very impressed with our results, and they've invited us to come back. And also, so they're going to be featured at Gamescom Canada, as well as part of the Gamescom Canada promotional sale. So you'll get not just student games, your games up there at a major event and on Steam. Also, at the end of the program, we bring in a bunch of employers to meet you and you demo your game for employers. That's your final assignment, sitting there with employers and explaining your game to them while they play it. And if it's not good, you got to explain why it's not good. So make it good. So tuition for that is $15,000 Canadian or $11,000 USD. We do have grants available if the tuition is a barrier. So in 6 months, where do you want your life? Actually, where do you want to be? 5 months, do you want to be a designer? And there's our email address if you'd like to find out more. All right. So, as I said, we do have a special design assignment. So, earlier I said design solves customer problems, and empathy is important. Understanding customer problems is important. So, part of FDI, we've just started to roll out in a very limited version what we call FDI Design Labs, where you can take a design concept, iterate on it with the community, and help to solve design problems. And our very first product for FDI Design Labs is, so one of the very first things that we designed as part of the FDI Design Labs process is a winter care package. So we're going to be going out there and handing this out to people. As you might have noticed, it is super freaking cold out there. There's a blizzard happening. There's people out there, they're cold, they're having a hard time. So the FDI community helped to design this package. Started off with a budget of, so our expense for the packages was $30. Our target budget was $20. We iterated on it, approached it as a design problem. We got it down to about $21.50. So that's about a 30% reduction in the cost. Quality's still there though, but we're going to go and hand these out. We're going to get people to give us feedback on them to learn how to improve them even more. That's part of the design process. And we're going to have a lot of fun doing that and helping people out there in a very cold, very bitter day. So if you'd like to help out with that, that'd be great. For those of you online, unfortunately, you're going to miss out. You should have flown to Edmonton because we're going to have a great time handing these out. Anyways, that is it for our class. Again, empathy drives design. Good design is about solving customer problems, and a big part of that is empathy.